Hey guys, so I thought this was a really interesting discussion this week. I think it can go a lot of ways. So for me, I don't think that being thinking critically or being critical in the classroom is necessary for all types of education. In formal settings, I think that it is more appropriate than a non-formal setting where you may not need to think as critically. There were two really cool points I thought, and I found, I guess, in our text this week. Their first one was when it was defining critical thinking. And it says that if you are not able to think critically, you will not be able to defend yourself or ultimately get the outcomes you desire. And I think this is true when it comes to some of things like this, with getting our masters and or working towards more involved courses in a formal environment. You need to think critically to really reach the goal and get the most out of the information you're trying to learn. In a non-formal setting, I don't think that you have to think critically to get where you're going. An example with this is for me with writing. The more I think into it, and the more that the more that I overthink, I guess, and think about it more critically, the more I'm gonna cause myself more harm in the long run. Where if I'm critically thinking when I'm going to work my barrel horse, I'm gonna work us both where we're gonna hit a dead end and both fight each other and not really get anywhere. But in a class like this, I think it's really important to think critically or be in a critical classroom where we're really thinking about our opinions and our feelings towards different things, and really getting looking into our assumptions and our knowledge and things like that. The other really interesting thing that I found was it's on page 228. It's under the creating a critical classroom part when they're introducing critical theory, and it says our task as educators is to help learners relate to it individually and then connect to their own experiences that of others and the broader society. I think this is a really good point, because I think to learn the best in this fact critical theory, we do need to relate with others. We do need to relate with our personal experiences. When you can relate back to your personal experiences and to other thoughts that you have, you're a lot more likely to really remember the information and let it sink in and kind of process what's going through and what's going to happen. It's almost like working hands-on, where you're able to actually see what's happening as you're learning about what's happening. You're able to reflect on things you've done and experiences you've had and how this education can relate to that. I think not all concepts in this course would require it either. Most of them being adult learning, yes, it makes sense, especially in more of a formal setting, like I said, but that the more that you critically think, the more you are engaged to a point, the more you're going to want to keep digging into the information when you can relate it to how you're feeling or experiences you're having. Let's say today at work that I had, what was I going to say? Now I forgot. Never mind on that, because I can't remember. But I think that it requires, when you can relate it to things that are actually happening, it's going to help you remember it, and it's going to really help have an impact. But with certain things in more non-formal settings, with our learning plans that we developed and stuff like that, then it's not always going to require critical thinking, but just the process of thinking and working through different things. I guess that's my thoughts on this, and hope everyone has a good week.